Here's my chance. No cameras, no security systems, nothing. I'm about to own this house.
Rob, you blind. We know you're in there.
Oh no! It's Be Safe.
The house is surrounded. Come out with your hands up.
I'm not coming out.
Okay, I'm sending in Kraken.
Release the Kraken.
Dance with my dogs in the nighttime.
Ah! Kraken bit me.
I tried to warn you.
We'll get you the proper medical attention, but you're going to have to surrender and come out with your hands up in that house that does not belong to you.
Hold on. I'm coming out.
Don't be all day. We'll send Kraken back in.
My leg hurts now, and I have to go back to jail.
Well, this is what happens when you illegally enter a property that does not belong to you, also known as burglary.
Ooh.
And there you have it. Rob, you blind, you're coming with me. Hopefully you learn to respect other people's property and not break into homes. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Why are you officer?
Hi, officer.
The reason I pulled you over because you're speeding a little, okay?
Oops. Sorry, officer.
Alright. Can I see your driver license, proof of insurance, ma'am?
I actually don't have that with me.
Okay, no problem. I'll just get your first and last name, okay?
Sure.
What's your first name?
Frida?
Okay, last name?
Go?
Go. Frida, go?
Correct. Thank you, officer.
Hey. Hi, how are you? That's beautiful. You work?
Radio 446.
Bruh.
He had to drive. Oh. Oh, I can't breathe. Radio.
He needs some milk.
He don't know I'm doing this shit.
Welcome to Black and Blue, the podcast that brings you the untold stories behind the badge. Every week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we dive deep into the lives of our unsung heroes, the first responders and law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line to protect us all. So join us as we humanize the badge. We shed light on the incredible individuals who wear it proudly, from rookies just starting out on their journey to seasoned vets with years of experience, even retirees who continue to make a difference in their communities. Come with us and discover the trainings that mold us. The unforgettable experiences that make us. And the publications that inspire us to push forward. So buckle up and get ready to embark on a thrilling journey through the lives of those who protect and serve. This is the Heartbeat, Black and Blue. Black and Blue, where the stories behind the badge are true. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you guys for tuning in to another wonderful episode of Black and Blue. This is the podcast that's just for you. I'm your host. I'm Coach Clague. I'm your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker, Coach Clague, coming at you. And we got a tremendous show lined up for you today. This is, like I said, this is Black and Blue, where we go live weekly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when we go live, we have a guest who is either a first responder or in law enforcement. And when we talk about their trainings, their experiences, and their publications, whether they're rookie, season, or retiree, we have a lot of fun doing it. This is an interactive show. We're streaming on 5 different platforms. Yes, 5. We're on 2 on YouTube. We're on 2 on Facebook, and we're on 1 on LinkedIn. So therefore, if you're on any of those pages, make sure you tag, like, share, hit that like button, get this algorithm going. This is going to be a fun show. Also, I can't see who's in here because we're on those different platforms. So if you're looking for the shout out, you got to put your name and where you're from in the comment section, and we'll give you the shout out that you're looking for. If you have a question or a comment, you have to put your name or question and comment in the comment section as well, and we'll address it accordingly. All right. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So make sure, like I said, you hit that like button. You see our special guest, his website is already in the comment section. Don't look at it now. It's Policereports.ai. Look at it at the end of this live or during the replay. We'll talk about that momentarily. Also, my website will be scrolling below. Should be. Let me get this banner correctly. Here we go. Website right there. And it's also in the comment section as well. So make sure you guys check that out at the end of this live. This is workwithcleage.com. So if you're looking to be a guest on the show, make sure you hit that. Go ahead and check that website out. If you're looking to do voiceovers for the Sergeant Be Safe cartoon that played at the beginning during the intro, that's the website that you want to use. Also, this platform is sponsored by One Way Publishing. One Way Publishing is the book publishing company where I wrote my 5 books and a couple of more on the way. And they also have clients that wrote theirs. You can see a few of them behind me. One recently is Kay Childs. Let me put her book up, her poetry book, which she started over 20 or 30 years ago and just never got it done to the point where she could publish it. One Way Publishing got that thing done. It's available on Amazon. So make sure you check out her poetry book. And the Dynamic Duo, the other latest book that just came out, To Be So Tall, the children's book by Shayla and Sophia Thompson, mother-daughter duo, did their first children's book, and the artwork is tremendous in that book. They've also done school assemblies, book signings and gatherings, so make sure you check that out. It's also available on Amazon. It's produced by One Way Publishing. One Way Publishing, their motto is they can turn a mere thought into a book that's bought. So reach out to them, all right? A couple other things. So One Way Publishing also is a sponsor for the Sergeant Be Safe cartoons as well. However, we're going to transition. We're here to talk about Black and Blue and the information that was going to be shared here. Got a special guest. I'll introduce him here in a minute. If you're not familiar with how AI is taking over, we're going to discuss that. AI is going to change. Is the future of policing. It's the future of this world, and we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss the burning desire. Our guest got into why he got into law enforcement, how long he's been in law enforcement, so many different things. So without further ado, let me go ahead and I'm just going to introduce him. Let me get this banner up here. Eric Clague. He's backstage right now. Here's his website as well. And he's been a veteran of the United States Army. He was also an MP. He was a vet in the Army for 7 years. He's also been a police officer for about a law enforcement officer for 7 years, and in the Army for 5 years. He's also the founder and CEO of what we're going to be talking about, Policereports.ai. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to be learning about how he got into law enforcement, how he's going to change the game of law enforcement, and so many different things. We're going to learn more about him. Let me bring him to the stage. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here's Eric Clague. Eric, are you there?
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Thank you for making yourself available to come on the show.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect time.
Yes, it is. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah. So originally from New Jersey. Joined the Army right after high school. Spent 5 years in the Army. When I left the Army, I was an MP in the Army. Did one full deployment to Afghanistan.
I
was stationed in Europe. I was stationed in Washington State. Got out, became a police officer at an agency here in the Tampa Bay area. Did that for about 7 years. Held various roles. I was a narcotics detective. acting supervisor, and a field training officer. I left a little over a year ago to pursue Policereports.ai full time,
Okay.
as it became a full time endeavor.
Hmm.
And now I'm here. We're active in 4 states all across the U.S. and growing at a rate that I couldn't even hope for, couldn't even imagine.
I bet. I bet. But before we jump into your current, what you're doing right now and how you're changing the game of law enforcement and report writing, what gave you that burning desire to actually, for one, enlist in the military? Secondly, to want to actually become a police officer? Did you have something that was burning inside of you as a kid, or did you do that ride along like we always hear that, I did one ride along and it changed the game? What was your why?
Um, there was no why. I don't come from a family of law enforcement officers, nothing like that. It was just something to do, and I liked it.
Okay.
After I did it, that was really it. And people ask, like, why'd you get into law enforcement after the military? It was just something to do. I found I was pretty decent at it.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, helping people was great, right? I really enjoyed that. I will say, what I found after the fact was, like, being a field training officer was probably like the most enjoyable experience I had. One, because it was the people I worked with, and two, I think that's really a way to make law enforcement better, right? Outside of what I'm doing now, obviously, but like, that is one of the ways you can have a direct impact immediately on your agency.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Because you can help mold and shape the newer officers that are coming in. You can see what their vision is early. You can help them buy in, and certain things that you can kind of wean out some of the old habits that kind of need to dissipate, and you can help give them a newer vision or a newer attitude, fresh look on things as well. So I think the FTO program is a very important program, especially for those coming into law enforcement for the very first time, not just switching agencies and getting it on a hyphenated version, but actually the actual initiation of the process is wonderful.
Yep.
You said you were in narcotics and other various. Can you give us a little bit of insight on some of your experiences while you were in law enforcement?
Yeah. So I was a TFO for the county that we were in. It was a really interesting experience, right? Got to do a lot of hand-to-hand transactions. Got to do a lot of surveillance, a lot of fun stuff. I think it was pretty enjoyable over the long term. I worked in as a patrol officer. I worked in a pretty active area, so we were busy all the time.
Gotcha.
Really large agency. Got to see a lot of things, a lot of really interesting experiences, a lot of really funny experiences, I'm sure, as you know. And going back to the training thing too, right? I love to solve problems, so I always enjoyed having people with the problems, right? Fixing that, and that was it wasn't just as a field training officer, right? I did the same things as a narcotics detective, the same things as an acting supervisor. I think one of the biggest things I saw, if we could talk about experiences from law enforcement, one of the biggest things I took away, and the military, right? You're in the military as well. And I think inherently we're taught not to question, right? In the military, it's like you don't say why, right? But I have
but not question why. Yeah,
I have a horrible problem. I have to say why, right? So I think there's a lot of things, right? A lot of experiences I had, a lot of things could be done a lot better, and I think we're seeing the negative impact of those things that aren't being done better by the current, hiring crisis we're facing within law enforcement.
Right.
And the current issues we're having. And I would say, I mean, we all have the experiences of the crazy car chase, or, when I was undercover, I got carjacked, all kinds of funny, crazy stories. But one thing we never really talk about is most people get out not because of those things, right? They get out because the systems in place are not doing the job to, or not assisting the officer with doing the job to their best ability. So they feel like they're underutilized, I would say, a lot of the time. So seeing things like bad systems, right? Bad radios, CADs that go down, or evidence that doesn't get categorized properly, all those things. And you're laughing about it, right? Like because I talk to police officers all across all across the world.
Okay.
It's all the same problem. We're on a whole planet and they're all having the same problem in developed countries. Their videos don't categorize, their CADs go down, the reports take too long to write, the radios don't work. I think those experiences need to be shared more because we need to talk about them to fix them.
It's crazy you say that because I'm laughing about it. Not to hone in on any particular department or whatever, because like you say, you hear it all the way across the world. You said I hear from various departments, neighboring states, and things like that as well. It's like the main. It's like it's 2024 and we're dealing with this problem. Like we can deal with an active shooter, a fire in a building, an overturned vehicle. We can save children on a bus, but this doesn't work, or this system doesn't communicate with this system. So therefore, I have to input this here, hit send, and do the exact same thing over here, hit send, and I'm wasting a half hour of the shift on something that I could really do in 10 minutes and be done and move on to something else.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's the same everywhere. It's rather strange, actually.
Yeah. So using that, and you said you've been out of police work for a year or a little over a year, so you can work full time with Police Reports AI. What gave you what spawned that idea that this is exactly what you wanted to do, and this is what you were going to do to leave your mark and change the game?
So I had my part in building other softwares and marketing tools prior to this. Right, this wasn't my first thing. This wasn't my first idea, but so I already had like a base knowledge of software development, web development, and all that stuff. And then I saw how artificial intelligence was becoming like publicly available, and then I realized, okay, if we can make a safer version of this that's publicly available, we might be able to write some police reports. And I remember when we made the first version, it was nothing compared to what we have now. We made the very first version of it, and it was something you had to download on your computer, and it looked like, it's like comparing Pong to Grand Theft Auto. And I had never been so excited when this thing spit out a police report. I was like, whoa, this is it. We're done. We're going to change the world. It's over. Little did I know, right? There was about 150 redevelopments that we had to do. There were things that were just done incorrectly. And then eventually we came to the end product and then we went to market with it. But it came from a knowledge base. It wasn't like one day I just decided, hey, I'm gonna build this thing. I had been messing around with software development, web development, all of that stuff for years, and I had met my team now, right, which I definitely couldn't have done it without them. I had met them, so I had good contacts. I had good pool of knowledge to pull from, and we took that and ran with it, and now we're here.
Gotcha. And so most of us are familiar with AI, how it's being introduced and with social media, with any kind of streaming programs and things like that. Hey, Tim, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you tag, like, and share. Shout out to you also, Danny Bergstrom. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're familiar with ChatGPT and so many things like that. What exactly does your product do for anyone who's coming in right now and has no idea what Police Reports AI is? Can you give us a ground level and build it all the way up to at least make it make sense for us?
Yeah. So it's super easy, right? To start off with, we're a freestanding system, so agencies don't need to get rid of their CAD, their RMS, anything like that.
Okay.
Because you know how much chiefs hate that, right? So you don't have to get rid of anything. We're just a website you go to, right? So we're secure, freestanding, software that you go into. We build out our backend algorithm that have modules for each agency for each type of document to complete, because everybody writes reports differently, right? Like where you're at, where somebody in Washington State's at, they have different requirements, different state laws. So we build it out. We train on the laws of the state, the policies and procedures of the department, and we go from there, right? And it's not just reports; it's anything: subpoenas, search warrants, interviews, daily observation reports for field training officers. And now there's a couple ways to get the data, because the next question is always, well, AI wasn't there, it can't write the report for me, or it's going to take over. So, okay, don't worry, we have some fail safes in place. So there's essentially 3 ways to get the data, right? One way, the officer provides a voice note, just like you and I are talking. It doesn't need to be proper, just you and me talking. Second way is off of video. Now, for video, like we always say, right, it needs context. You can't make a decision off video alone. Where this really shines is in post-Miranda interviews with detectives. So like detectives do a 2-hour-long interview with a homicide suspect. Now we have a report written in 5 minutes for that interview. Obviously, the detective needs to check it, make sure it's correct, all that stuff. And then the third way is via voice notes on the phone. So say you do a search warrant, you're walking through the house, you're taking voice notes. Oh, we'll give you a complete crime scene description in under 5 minutes.
Wow.
So yeah, those are the 3 main ways. Yeah,
that is going to change the game. Definitely. So many. Let's use the search warrant example. We're there at a house. Of course, we're getting the notes, we're getting the pictures, or we're securing the property until we can actually go back to our car or back to the station, or however it's going to be conducted. To type out, most of us have our templates where we cut and paste, or it's already in the database that we're using for the record management system. So we still have to type in and fill in. And then, of course, you get to the narrative. The narrative, you really can't use a template for it because it's circumstantial to that individual secured property. So you're typing out, I arrived here, secured this, I detected this, want to detain these, I want to search for this, and whatever you need, asking for this to be signed by your honor. And you have to then take it to the judge, get the stamp of approval, then you can go ahead and start the search. So with all that, let's just say it's a more detailed kind of search warrant and more detailed kind of property where you got to secure it. That can take multiple hours, and that can take manpower. You got a couple officers off the street for a certain amount of hours as well, because you still have to secure that property. You have to make sure that all sides are covered. Detainees, if they're still detained, are covered and cared for. If not, you have to make sure no one's showing up and doing different things. It's a lot that goes involved. And then once you get the search, you got to make sure you still have the manpower that is holding security outside and doing the search inside as well. So that sounds like your Police Reports AI can cut that in that time. I don't want to say in half, but you can do a reasonably amount of cutting of the wasted time per se.
Oh, it's more than half the time. It's like an eighth of the time.
Wow.
Yeah, on average. Yeah. Obviously, like if you get something super long, but it's going to take a little bit longer, but still significantly nowhere. Like if you're writing a report in an hour and a half, you could probably have it done with our system in like 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. Like if it's a real long, like homicide or shooting or you execute a search warrant, right? Something like that. Yeah.
So let's say, what benefit does that serve the police department and the public that you can get reports done, search warrants done, subpoenas, criminal complaints, whatever it may be done in an eighth of the time of what it would normally take? What kind of positives do you get from that?
Yeah. So one, I think on the admin side, we know, right, we're saving hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, depending on the size of the agency in person hours, right? So those are people that don't have to do overtime. Those are people that are back out on the street, patrolling, doing all that. So from an admin side, it looks great. But more importantly, from an officer satisfaction side, like we were talking about before, we have one of the worst hiring crises in law enforcement currently, and retention crises. This is an easy fix to make somebody's life just a little bit easier. right? When they show up, go to work, and like you've been down like 5 reports. It's 10 minutes from when you have to check off, and like 2 of these reports are arrest reports. I gotta type them before I go home. See, it's the same problem everywhere, right? And
It always comes in the last hour of the shift.
exactly. And now you're stuck there for 2-3 hours. With this, like, you can go home to your family, your kids, or whatever, right? It's increasing officer satisfaction. We've had officers in the trial period. This is when we always believed in it, but this is when I was like, okay, this thing is really going to take off. I had an officer tell me during the trial period he couldn't wait to take a report. And like, this, right? Like, somebody says that, you'd be like, "Is something wrong with you? What's wrong with you?"
You want to write mine too?
yeah. So when he told me that, I was like, all right, well, we really got some legs to stand on here.
Nice. Yeah, you don't hear that too often. So for someone I can't wait until I type a report or I have to get this report in. Like, wow, all cops again nationwide and throughout. Who's calling me? Call back later. Nationwide or worldwide, we love helping people. We love the thrill. We love the excitement. We get into it for that. And then I remember even in high school, and this is before I actually 100% knew what the job entailed, is I can't wait to get in law enforcement. I can't wait to become a cop because for one, I don't want to sit behind a desk. I don't want to sit in a cubicle. And the last thing I want to do is have to type book report style paperwork all day long, every single day. And then getting into it, I'm like, everything I said I didn't want to do, I do that about 80% of the time, more than I actually get to do the helping the community and the fun stuff.
Yep, exactly. So I think the biggest thing is, right, this is bringing back for a lot of people why they got into law enforcement, right? Mm-hmm. And it seems like a very mundane thing, like, oh, you're just speeding up report writing. Yeah, but from the outside looking in, you don't realize how much value that's going to add to the officer's, life and effectiveness. But yeah, as soon as police officers see it, they're like, wow, okay, this is something here.
Have you gotten any testimonials about any morale boost because of it?
Yeah, so we're actually going to work on putting one out here shortly. But yeah, just talking to the officers, you can see a pretty huge morale boost. It's pretty funny when you talk to them. Yeah,
I bet. Like coming to shit, like, wow, what I dread the most is pretty much taken care of. Yeah, and you talked about it a little bit momentarily. That you kind of touched on it. What kind of issues have you dealt with, or can you foresee as if, okay, AI wasn't there, so how can it type the report? Or you have a more serious incident, and then the district attorney or defense attorney themselves, they're critiquing the report, saying you arrested my client for the X, Y, and Z. But technically, let me see your call notes or what you put into the report to generate a report. How can the two compare, and how can it stand up in court?
Yeah. So right, there's a whole bunch of things. So first off, reports in themselves in every state, we're active in all 50 of the U.S. And at the federal level. They are considered hearsay, right? So officers need to testify to them.
Right.
9 times out of 10, they're considered hearsay. And officers themselves need to testify to them. And then furthermore, there's a lot of agencies. I know a lot on the West Coast do it. Some in the Northeast do it, where the officer tape records the report. They give it to a civilian to write, and then the civilian just writes the report, or they call a civilian to write a report. At the end of the day, they still need to make sure it's true and accurate and to the best of their abilities, right? And the prompt that they provide is saved, so their admin can always access it. What the law is on that is going to change state by state. Like in certain states, it's considered transitory documentation. You don't have to keep it or furnish it, or you only have to hold it for a certain period of time. And then in other states, you have to hold it for longer. Yeah, that's pretty much how that works. And if we're taking out the whole time you're spent typing the report, you can at least read it, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
You can at least read it. You can at least make sure it's correct. One other thing to add. So I'm sure you've written search warrants. I know I have. Search warrants, most of the time, you use a template to write them. 9 times out of 10, you use a template to write them. A search warrant on the legal scale all across the country holds a higher level of validity because it's a sworn document, right? You're swearing to it. So it holds a higher level of legal validity. And we have to use templates to write them. We don't have to, but most people are using templates to write them.
Right.
So if that's already commonly accepted in common practice, an AI generated report, when reports are lower than search warrants, common sense thought process would be okay. There's no issue here, and I think the only time we really would see an issue is if the officer makes a major mistake, which would result in the officer being inattentive.
right.
And maybe I'll come out with something to make the officers more attentive too. I don't know, but if you have any ideas, I'd be more than willing to try.
I would love to shoot you some, but I do believe if you can cut the report writing process down and substantially, I do believe the onus is on the officer and the person, the individual who's going to put their name at the end of the report to at least double check and make sure, for one, names are spelled correctly. Locate the location is correct, the address is correct. Like, of course, you're going to read through like, oh, okay, yeah, it's 3204 instead of 3804 or whatever, things like that, and make those corrections. I think, especially if you're getting it done sooner, you have ample amount of time to actually go through and double check it before you actually sign off or submit, or however the reports are done throughout each agency. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, stand by. We're going to go to a Sergeant Be Safe cartoon, and we're going to jump right back to this interview. So if you have any questions, get your questions ready. We're coming right back.
Your Honor, we have undeniable evidence that Chance Wilder attempted to hack into multiple bank accounts and steal money. We request the maximum penalty.
That's right, Your Honor. Chance Wilder is a menace to society, and we must put an end to his hacking shenanigans.
Objection, Your Honor. My client is innocent until proven guilty. We believe there's been a misunderstanding. Chance Wilder is a misunderstood genius, not a criminal.
Order in the court. Let's hear the defense's case.
Your Honor, I present to you Chance Wilder's latest creation, the Hacker Helper 3000. This incredible software was designed to protect innocent people from cyber threats. Chance's intentions were pure.
Objection, Your Honor. This is just a ploy to distract us from the real issues at hand.
Indeed, Your Honor. We even have evidence of Chance Wilder's hacking attempts. He's gone so far to have left a digital signature saying, "Catch me if you can."
Chance Wilder, I've heard both sides of the story. Hacking is illegal. Since you like to take wild chances, I sentence you to community service, where you use your skills for good, helping organizations protect themselves from cyber threats.
Oh man, no money and community service?
Shut up and take the deal.
Well, there's another good job done by our district attorney, just in case.
It was a team effort.
And there you go, folks. Justice was brought to Chance Wilder, but I'm pretty sure he'll be up to his shenanigans again. So tune in, and that's your tip of the day to get you on your way. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You know, we're back here in the lab. I'm sorry, on Black and Blue on the platform. We got Eric Clague here. We're discussing Police Reports AI and how it's changing the game. Can you tell us where do you foresee your company being in the next 3 to 5 years or so with Police Reports and using AI? Sorry, you're muted, Eric.
Sorry
There you
about
go.
that. I'd say this is just really the first step. It would be nice if the report writing process, like within your RMS and everything, was completely taken and automated, right? So just completing the narrative is the first step. Ideally, I would like something that's completely streamlined to where not only you have a full narrative done in 5 minutes, your reports completed, all the victims' boxes are completed, all those NIBRs captions are checked, everything you're ready to send for approval after you look over it within 5 minutes. So I think that's really the next steps.
Gotcha. And Chief Elliot Moya, former guest on the show, thank you for tuning in. The fact is that the future is here. The amount of time spent on reports is insane, and DA offices are always wanting more. The fact is you must proofread and make it sure it properly portrays what you intend. I'm intrigued at the software improves, and I'm intrigued to learn more. Great guest and great topic, Clee. Thank you, Chief. Thank you for tuning in. Absolutely. Chief. Yep. And so if anyone, your website's in the comment section. It's not on LinkedIn. LinkedIn doesn't let me, it doesn't assimilate here on this platform. But it's scrolling below here on the screen. Policereports.ai. If anyone would go to that website, what can they see, or what can they expect, or how, if they wanted to get in touch with you, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so there's a brief demo video that you'll see on there. You can email info@policereports.ai or just fill out the contact form.
Okay.
Either way, we'll get back to you.
And so with the demo video, or does your company also provide any training? So someone reaches out, they say, hey, we want to go ahead and we're looking to take steps in seeing what this is about. What kind of training do you offer for the departments?
Yeah, so well, we have to get it cleared through. So one thing to specify is we don't vent to individual officers. So like if you're an individual officer, you can't call me. As much as I just want to give it to you and be like, yeah, sure, use it. You can't call me and say, hey, or call my team and say, hey, I want to use it. It has to be approved through chain of command. So once we get the appropriate paperwork signed and everything, and the command staff and city approves it, or county or whatever, we then start with the free trial we offer. We do most of our trainings online. We do some in-person stuff as well. The system's pretty intuitive, but we want to make sure everybody feels really good about it before they use it out on the street. The modules are built out custom to the agency. But from a chief contacting us, we can start within a week. It's really just how long it takes paperwork to get signed.
Gotcha.
Once the paperwork's signed, once everything's there, we're ready to go.
Okay. And speaking from a leadership or, excuse me, a chief's point of view, as they have the bird's eye view, what kind of tech support comes with it?
Well, it depends on how large the agency is. Essentially, the tech support's tailored to what their needs are going to be, right? If it's a larger sized agency, we do offer 24/7 tech support. There's not really much other than user error. Obviously, things go down. I'm not going to blame everything on the users, but obviously things do go down and there are issues. But sometimes it's nice for the user when they call to get a person in the United States that picks up the phone and says, "Hey, what's your problem?" Now that's 24/7 is not offered to every agency. If you're a 3-person agency, it's a little bit different, but
it makes sense.
The larger agencies, we have staff dedicated directly to them.
Gotcha. And you said you're available in all 50 states as of right now?
All over the world.
All over the world. You're ready to go.
We can write reports in foreign languages too. So we're actually trialing that in a country. I'm not going to say what country, but a country in the European Union.
Okay.
We're not in a police department yet, but we're getting ready.
Gotcha. It sounds exciting, and it sounds, it's coming no matter what. You can see where AI is blowing up everywhere, so it only makes sense for it to come to law enforcement sooner than later. Before it seems like we're always behind the 8 ball and adapting and adjusting and changing and trying to stay current. And if you stand still, you're already behind. and you got to, before the phrase was you got to walk or jog to stand still. It's kind of like we're in a full sprint now, just to remain constant and current. And with morale issues, those that see the light at the end of the tunnel, we're having recruitment and retaining problems. And if this is one thing that can make the job easier and more efficient to actually go out and do the things that police officers actually signed up, took the oath to actually do, I think it's a positive and a plus.
I agree. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that, like, you don't want to do this stuff, right? You don't want to type and do all that. Getting rid of that, right, huge value add. And another thing, you said it before, like AI is here to stay. It's coming, and not just AI, just technology in general, right. Is advancing at a significantly faster rate than it was, 20 years ago. And what I tell people, and you get this a lot in law enforcement, a lot of people say, well, like, I don't know, let's wait. We're scared of not just my product, but just right in general. A lot of people say, oh, like, we're scared. We want to wait. We're not really sure. Well, I say, well, do you think bad actors are waiting? No, they're using it, right? They're using it at a much faster rate than what can be properly used here. And we'll never be able to accelerate to the rate that they're using it, because there's always, safety and compliance things that the government needs to maintain. But in order to get past all of the bad things that are going to occur, I think that these things need to generally be accepted to combat some of the negative issues, because it's not like if or when artificial intelligence is going to take off. It's how quick are we going to get through this rocky road of adapting, reorganizing, and whatnot. And when electricity became publicly available, 15% of people had it in their homes. The rest of the people said, that's dangerous. If you said to me right now, electricity is dangerous to have in your home, I would look at you like you're a crazy person.
Yeah.
And I think we're looking at the same thing, right?
Yeah. I saw a podcast earlier that was explaining AI and the technological revolution that we're going through, and they took it back to, people were happy riding horses until the car was invented. And then, if you grew up riding a horse, you saw a car like, what is this? The human body is not designed to go at a certain mile per hour faster than another living, breathing animal. And now, people ride horses for sport, but we don't ride them to travel back and forth. We're in automobiles, we're trains, planes, whatever it may be, boats, and then along with the steam engine. People were traveling cross country on stagecoaches until the train came, and the train is a normal way of travel. So it's when we as people actually catch up to technology, it becomes the norm, and we actually overcome and adapt because we learned how to live with it as opposed to trying to fight to remain the same.
Yep.
Got a question? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it. I was just agreeing with you.
Okay. Got a question on the floor from Danny Bergstrom. Let me highlight this. Can't people hack the AI? What keeps it secure from hackers?
Yeah, Danny. People can, but not mine. There's always There's always firewalls. There's encryption. We're independently tested by several parties to ensure that we maintain compliance. We implement what's called client-side encryption. So for the CGIS, we implement client-side encryption, so our people can't take your data on the back end. We can't access it. So as long as, now I don't know what you do on your end, but that's at the agency, right? That's not my job, right? As long as you keep your facilities secure and stuff, it's good to go.
Gotcha. Appreciate it. So if those reaching out, those watching the replay, again, boosting morale for recruitment and retention, for one. For two, for officers that are already there, that the report writing process can be cut to an eighth as opposed to where it is now, is wonderful in itself. Catching up with technology and the way in current trends. We see AI everywhere we go now. even McDonald's is being automated into some sort of transitioning where it's transitioning people out and actually moving in more automated systems. So therefore, I would say again, and correct me if I'm wrong, the jump to get ahead of it, to actually jump on it now while it's still quasi new before it becomes mainstream, and then everyone's trying to play catch up.
Yep. Yeah. And then another thing, right? You mentioned about like the phasing out of jobs. I think in certain industries that's going to happen. I don't think in law enforcement that's going to happen because one, like you still need, multiple people to go to a man with gun call. You still need, right? Just because you write the reports quicker doesn't mean like you just don't like things get less dangerous. It's definitely in some facets, in some industries, it's going to, I don't want to say take away a lot of jobs. I think it's just going to reallocate jobs. So those people that would typically work in industry A may now go to industry B that supports industry A. And I think, and that's part of the adjustment, right? That happens. But I don't think that's going to be the case with law enforcement at all, because there's obviously the safety aspect.
Right. I'm interested to see in 10, 20 years when I'm retired and I'm an old guy, and I'm one of those old guys where, I'm walking around and I see a couple cops over here. They're hanging out doing whatever they're doing. And then I walk up to them, and then after they get done saying their slick comments under their breath about me walking up to them, bothering them, I say, yeah, back in my day, it took us such and such time to write a report. I had notes on my notepad. I had certain symbols that I used so I could remember who the victim was and who the defendant is and who the witnesses are and things like that. And it just hearing how updated they'll be, like, yeah, we don't have to do any of that. It can speak it into our device right there, and it'll print out a full page of accurate detail. And I'm like, wow, just seeing where this can advance years from now, and what may be to come that I can't even foresee. This isn't my specialty or forte.
Yeah, I definitely have some ideas of where it's going to go. I don't want to get too into it, but I can give you a brief overview. But just imagine something like this, right? You go to a call, we'll just say a shooting, right? You go to a shooting, you get a suspect description, and maybe there was some interaction prior where the suspect gave the victim a phone number, and a witness at the shooting has the phone number for the suspect. Now imagine if all of that in real time, all the research was conducted on that phone number, the suspect description was conducted within your RMS system, all of that. And by the time you get back to the car, that portion of the report's already written. You already have a potential suspect. The detectives already have subpoenas and cell site and geofencing warrants written that are drafts. All before you just sat down in your car to confirm the data. And I think that's where we're going. And I'm fully confident we're going to make that happen. We're going to be one of the major players doing that.
Wow. Forward thinking. I like that. I mean, that makes our job so much easier, but that's so effective as well. And protecting the public and public property and personnel itself, and protecting our own. I mean, it's huge leaps and bounds ahead of where we're at right now. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to watching that survive and thrive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's there's definitely going to be some huge leaps, I think, in the next 5 to 10 years for law enforcement. And they need it, right, to get it up to speed to the rest of the world. Unfortunately, it is statistically behind when you look at tech in the industries. All the private industries are thriving, and I think that's needed for law enforcement as well.
Right. So how'd you get involved in tech?
It was really just a hobby. It was something I did. So I remember, like, I had built, just tiny like marketing automations and stuff in like 2018, 2019. And that's where it all started from. And it's not just tech. I always like to create things, like figure problems out. it's not always there, right? I like to build things,
Gotcha.
and tech is the easiest way to build something quick that will make an impact the fastest, right? Because not taking anything away from somebody who does construction or anything like that, but it takes maybe like, I don't know, like 6 months to a year to build a structure, right? This structure can house one family. It could be an office building, and that's great. It takes 6 months to a year to build a software. This software could be utilized by millions of people and enhance the everyday lives of the people that are utilizing the software. So, one, it's really cool to see, right? It's really cool to see something that makes people more effective and better and happier. And two, I think it satisfies like my urge to like just fix problems and build something. But I don't think that'll ever go away, to be completely honest, right? You could give me all the money in the world and I'd still try to create something new.
Right.
I don't think it would particularly matter to me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's how I got into it.
Gotcha. I like how you said that. It's like the money doesn't matter. It's changing the game and figuring out the problem. That's the burning desire that it gives you to make it move.
Well, I mean, it does, Matt, right? Like it's nice. I think once you get past a certain point, it's not particularly a concern for really anybody. It's more or less something that this is a way to leave a mark too, right? This is a way to leave a mark in the industry, because I do remember when I was a police officer, the frustration I had with how like monotonous things were and how like silly some of the things we did were. And as a patrol officer, what are you going to do? Walk into your chief's office at a large agency and be like, "Hey, chief, I got a problem. Can we fix this?" And he's going to look at you and be like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, exactly.
Are you okay? I think it's a way to fix an industry that needs help.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, stand by. Sergeant Be Safe has something to say, and we're going to jump right back in the third part of this interview. Stand by.
Ooh, look at all the pretty butterflies in the sky. I guess I'll just cross the street here.
Oh, good. Light's green. I'm glad I can go. Oh my gosh, watch out.
Sergeant Be Safe, Beast Mode, baby! Megan, watch out for that car! I got you.
Oh, geez. I didn't even see that car coming.
Oh my gosh, are you two okay?
Yes, we're okay. Megan, you have to do a better job paying attention.
I just wanted to cross the street.
I didn't see you walking there.
Megan, you just can't cross in the middle of the street. You have to go to the intersections and use the proper crosswalks. Wait for traffic to clear and then go. If you don't follow these simple directions, you could get a ticket for jaywalking, or worse, be hit by a car and seriously injured.
I'll be more careful from now on. Ooh! Look at the other butterfly!
Oh my goodness.
Sergeant Be Safe, you are the best.
This is very true. Thank you very much. I did have to turn on supersonic beast mode to jump and get Megan out of the way. Remember, folks, look both ways before crossing the street and wait till the intersection's clear and cross at the crosswalks. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you guys for tuning in. We had a wonderful interview here with Eric Clague, and he talked about Policereports.ai and how it's changing the game. And he explained how it can change the game. He also explained his contact information if you're interested in seeing how it can be implemented with your own department, or he's already nationwide and worldwide. Please check this out. Again, jump ahead of the power curve that's coming with AI. You gotta things are the only thing constant is change, and change is going to happen no matter what. So please, if you have any questions, ask them now. If not, make sure you ask them during a replay, and I will make sure that these questions get to Eric. But Eric, I appreciate you coming on the show, and I thank you for sharing this information. This is highly sought after information because not a lot of people know that this is coming down the pipeline, at least from my perspective. I could be wrong, but during this interview, I may have forgot to ask a question, or I may have jogged your memory on something that you wanted to share. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us right now? The floor is yours.
Yeah. So as far as something that we did talk about, I would definitely say the biggest thing is if there are this all starts and moves at a rate the decision makers will let it move. So chiefs and command staff, we ask that you keep an open mind, right? Ask questions, be critical of us, but allow us to present what we have, right? Don't just write us off because you hear artificial intelligence and you saw a news story about how robots are going to take over, right? Take into account, ask questions. I'm not saying disregard safety, of course, but we can only accelerate at the rate you allow us. So allow us to accelerate as fast as safely possible. That's about it.
Perfect. I think that sums it up incredibly. Thank you for, excuse me, making yourself available again and coming on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, his website is scrolling below. It's also in the comment section. Please feel free to take a look at it. Make sure you guys have any questions. I already said all this, but I'm just want you guys to reach out with all that information because I do believe the future is already here. And we're living in the days where things are changing very quickly. So to get ahead of it is a beautiful thing.
I agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I appreciate you for tuning in again. We got a wonderful guest here who explained a lot of things. Eric Clague, he came in here on his time. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, this is Black and Blue. This is the podcast that's just for you. We go live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time weekly. And when we go live with someone in law enforcement or a first responder, whether they're discussing their trainings, experiences, and their publications. And they could be rookie, seasoned, or retiree. And we didn't fall short today. And we're not going to fall short next week either. I got a special guest. You guys are going to love who's coming in on the podcast next week. I'm not going to say who they are. I always like to leave you with a cliffhanger because I got to keep you tuned in to make sure that you're going to tune in for next week. So make sure you guys do that. Get a tag, like, share, subscribe. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit all. We're on 5 different platforms. Subscribe to all of them. We'll be uploaded on the Spotify too. For those of you that like to be on Spotify, this live version either tonight or tomorrow will also be on Spotify. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker, Coach Clague Clark Kent. Clague Tillman, Clague Continuing Law Enforcement Edutainment, aka the coldest. Thank you guys again. 10-4, over and out.
I'm over here counting my stash. Cooper, get out of here. Last time you got me in trouble with Be Safe. This is a good spot to sell my drugs.
Certain Be Safe, we just got a call for suspicious activity. Copy that, dispatch. Captain Chaos and his K9 Kraken along with me are just now arriving on the scene. We'll stop and check it out. 10-4, Sergeant Be Safe.
Oh no, cops! I'm out of here.
Release the Kraken.
Hey, we see your drugs over there. Stop running, treacherous Tony. We will get you.
All right. I give up. I won't do it again.
Yeah, you say that all the time.
I'm sick of going to jail.
Illegal drugs are a bad decision. Just ask treacherous Tony. This isn't a good view. Take it from me, Sergeant Be Safe. I want you to make good decisions. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Subscribe now.
I'm not a bad cop.
I never once said you were. It would be real simple if the problem was bad cops. It ain't.